in 3 years at the University of Georgia, all SEC freshman team, consecutive years as first team all conference. Was there a moment when you were like, I could be a pro?
That moment came around the middle of my freshman season. I started to play against guys who I would read about, and I was one of those guys where they spoke about, but being a kid, being young, coming in, they had guys who were going on their way out. They had guys who were touted to do this, do that. And for me, once I realized that the game didn't move as fast as I thought it did at the next level, and I was a step ahead of everybody else, that's when I was like, oh, okay. So I just, that summer, going into my sophomore season was when I was like, all right, let's turn up.
So, in my opinion, success at the highest level is a situation, right? So you get drafted to the Clippers, who already have a young superstar in Blake Griffin, so you don't play that much your rookie year, and then you get injured. So over the next couple of years, you're kind of just sitting and rehabbing, right?
Yep.
So do you feel like you never really got a shot to show what you could do?
I did feel like that, but the one thing that helped me out was like all my veterans when I was in camp, like they would tell me after practice every other day, like, young fella, keep going. You got what it takes. Young fella, do this. Young fella, do that. My father would come to camp. He would watch practice every now and again. Dudes like, I don't know, Jamal Crawford, Matt Bond, everybody that see my pops, they like, yo, keep him, stay on him, because he got it. He's, you know what I mean? And me personally, I was starting to, lick my chops, rub my hands together. Like, I was feeling it. And then had an unfortunate injury. It just happened the way it happened.
For sure, because you still got to practice against those guys, right? So if you're holding your own, or more than holding your own, and then guys like you said, Jamal Crawford and these established guys are validating you, it has to feel like, man, all I need is this opportunity.
Yeah, and the hardest part for me is like, I made a transition to Europe and started doing pretty well for myself and creating a good, nice resume. And once every 2 years after I would sign here, some things would come up back home, and it would be about, it would become financial questions. It would become what's better for me, what's better for my family. Now that I'm not alone, I can't take as many chances as I used to be able to take. I'm providing for other people, so then that factor plays a part now in my life. It's just, it's like life and basketball sometimes have two different, but been making them gel, and it's working.
It seems a lot of people don't understand, right? Because we all grow up dreaming to be in the NBA, right? Dreaming of like having a successful NBA career, and it doesn't work out like that for everybody. But there's other factors for everybody's journey to where it may not always make the most sense to you. So you kind of talked about family or what's best for you. Explain it a little more in regards to just like, I know I could handle my biz. Like right now, I could go to an NBA team and produce, but that may not be the best situation for me given the factors.
Right. So it boils down to the fact that at the end of every contract, we've had success here in Madrid, and it's always reminded them like of the role that I play on this team. Right. So the value that I've created here always becomes like an issue, because they're willing to give me an offer that makes me question whether it's worth going back home and being a team player or clapping for being a cheerleader. You know what I mean? That guy. And I mean, for me, I'm selfless. I enjoy like the success of my teammates, but it also has to be right for me. And right now, financially, it's just right.
You would be sacrificing financial stability.
It's every factor I'd be sacrificing. Minutes, financially, my sanity, the love for the game. Everything changes. Like when your situation changes, everything changes. Another thing like that makes it harder is I've been here this will be 6 years now. I'm familiar. I know what I have to bring to the table here. I know what I need to do in order for us to be successful. I have a place. I don't need to. There's nothing confusing about what I have going on. And comfort and stability, it has been, like I said, one of the factors. It's huge.
It's the rare situations where the balance of living in a dope city, but constantly competing for championships at the highest level merge, and to be able to be in a place like this for this long with years to come is rare.
Yeah, man. It's hard to, and I realize that as much as anybody else would. So it's hard for me to just turn away, to pick something different.
Yeah.
But I'm confident in myself, though. I know when the time comes, I'll make whatever decision is necessary.
Okay. Let's take it to how your European career started, right? So when your agent starts bringing overseas opportunities to you, and then you end up signing in Nizhny Novgorod, I want you to explain your mindset while you're on the plane coming over to something that you have no knowledge of, and then also what are the goals you were setting for yourself?
Okay, so for me, as soon as the injury happened, I had surgery in Colorado, went to LA, rehab for 7 weeks, and then went back to Atlanta and watched the entire season of NBA that year.
Crazy.
At home, rehabbing, getting back to the point where I could at least jog after my knee surgery. And there wasn't a lot of people were afraid to pull the trigger and sign me, give me an offer or whatever. So I had a couple of European agents that came to the States, watched me work out, and figured that I could at least produce for somebody. Now at the time I wasn't 100% at all. At all. The only thing I could do at that time was really slide, hop, jog a little bit, shoot a jump shot.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah.
So Nizhny was I think that was their first year in EuroLeague, and they needed a big to play EuroLeague. So coming off of an injury, former NBA player, seems like it could work, right?
Yeah.
But for me, as an American, as soon as I announced to my people, my basketball world, I'm going to Russia, they're like, what? And how they portray Russia to us in America.
Yeah.
It's the worst. So on my flight over, before the flight, I'm like, Mom, I'm not going. Mom, I'm not going. At the time, she was alive. Mom, I'm not going. Mom, I'm not going. She you getting on that plane. You committed to it. You ain't got no choice.
Right.
I get on the plane, and the flight was just so long that I was just I gotta lock in. I have to put myself into this,
right,
or it's gonna turn into a disaster.
Yeah.
And I made it. I made it what it was. I did everything I could to dive into the culture, to dive into their way of basketball, their way of everything, just lifestyle, everything. And it was one of the most fun years I've ever had in my life. Just on the court.
And then you had plenty of offers around Europe. I'm sure the interest in the NBA was up again. So hindsight, why you keep staying at Madrid, but what was part of the decision making that you choosing Madrid or coming to Real Madrid at that point?
At that time, it was about, like we said, being present. So the plan was always to get back home at that time.
Right.
But the next step in order to get back home was Real Madrid. It was Nizhny to Madrid to back home. So my first year, I signed a 1-year deal with Real, and we had a tough EuroLeague, but we ended up winning the Spanish League, and I played really well. And that summer, I went to Toronto. I had a workout with the Raptors. I believe once Real Madrid found out that I was in Toronto and they were about to make me an offer, that's when they made a great offer.
Hold up.
Yeah. And at the time, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna put some money in my pocket and I'll wait for this opportunity to come back.
Right.
And the opportunity, it always came back, but again, it's all about placement. It's all about jamming. It's all about what. And here I am now in year 6 in Madrid.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna ask you something real. This year, the coronavirus pandemic hit, right? And then, so everyone was home and got to see and watch George Floyd get murdered by the police in Minneapolis, and then the Breonna Taylor situation in Louisville, another murder. So it's 2020, and inequality and police brutality are things that we're still fighting for it, like our community. So how tough is it to be here in Madrid for work and watch your loved ones and minorities in general protest and continue to fight for basic human rights?
At the end of the day, man, I'm a as far as like everybody living an equal life, I believe that I always have. I felt that everyone is entitled to general rights and general respect.
Right.
And that's something that I grew up believing. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with power. It has nothing to do with, like, you can be the richest man or you can be the janitor in the room. I'm gonna show you the same amount of respect just because that's who I am. So for me, being over here is really, really, really hard because I always feel like I could be doing more, but I can't. And being present and being physically being in the States right now, for me would help me feel like I'm more engaged, more involved. But I mean, from what I can do, I do it from this far away. I mean, I definitely don't let the awareness go away.
Right.
Like, I mean, just because, basketball's starting back up, sports are starting to happen, politics, everything's happening, so people are kind of forgetting, what's happening right now.
Yeah.
For me, I can't ever forget it.
And me, I'm sure it's the same with you. It's kind of like a unspoken guilt because our life is so different here, right? Our day to day, we walk around, we're not treated like that. And so, but our loved ones, our family, and how we were raised is that.
Is there.
You know what I mean? So it's like how you say, trying to be here and present in your life, right? But also knowing that in the bigger picture, like where our sons will grow up in the world.
We're so much further than where we would like to be.
Yeah.
So much further. It's tough, man. It's so tough. And what's necessary, us as the type of people we are, I feel like in the end, we'll definitely do the things we feel like are giving us the satisfaction of feeling like we don't need to carry that guilt anymore.
Right.
I feel like it'll come. It just hurts to see it happening on a daily basis. Like I was watching a video today, man. This dude, he forget what city he was in, and it doesn't even matter what he did. Like, he was on the ground, cuffed already, 3 cops, and a dog was like tearing his arm off.
Wow.
Now, that's my question. Like, he's, first of all, 3 cops. The dog, okay, it's fine. You can bring the dog, whatever, but why is this dog? He's still biting. And it's looking like, honestly, the police officer's like antagonizing the dog to keep biting him harder as the people are recording. And he's like arguing with the people recording, it's just like, bro, like, I've seen this different video, but the same video for 20 days straight. And like, how am I supposed to, how do I?
So GER is to attack life in full pursuit of your dreams. What does that mean to you?
Live your life the way you want to live it, because at one point you won't be able to do it anymore. And
that being said, when you decide to hang them up, how do you want to be remembered?
I want people to know that I'm not just a basketball player, and I'm ready to move on with the next part of my life.
Right. When it's time. Speaking of, like, starting businesses and all those things, having the mental capacity and fortitude to be outside just the court, that's important.
Yeah, man. I'm not an old man, but I'm not a spring chicken, so it's coming around.
Yeah.
And I want to be prepared. I want to mentally and actually put in place things that I'm excited about in my future, and be able to just roll right and transition right into the next step, and when that time comes.
Right.
So I'm excited about it, man. I'm not dreading when that time comes. I look forward to it, man. I may not be like everybody else. Other dudes might be, I love the game so much, I want to die on the court. Like, no, man. I'm gonna give the game everything I can give it.
Yeah.
And when it's time, I'm gonna say thank you, and I'm gonna move on with my life. Maybe I'll go into coaching. Maybe I'll go into training kids. Maybe I'll something like that, because I love the game. I'll never stop loving the game. But when it's time for me to wipe my shoes off and hang them up, I hang them up happily, bro.
Walking out with your head high.
My head held high, bro.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, man.
You know that. I'm here for it. It's amazing to me. It's incredible.